Hello, my name is Jesse, and I'll be your instructor. I live in Boise, Idaho, and I'm currently at Seika Entertainment, where I intern for sound engineering. So I want to talk to you today about recording an acoustic instrument. Now, acoustic instrument can be basically anything that you don't need it, that you don't have a transducer to pick up the information, i.e. the reverberation from the strings. If it's a guitar or a drum or something to that extent. And what I'm going to do is I'll go over each piece of equipment one at a time, um, as it would be set up, and then explain a little bit about each piece in a little bit more detail. So what we're going to need first off for this is what is going to be picking up the information, and what I'm going to be using is a condenser microphone, which is an AKG C214, and this requires phantom power, and as you can see there's an XLR input right there, the female, and its polar pattern is actually going to be unique enough that it has a pretty decent frontal area or cone that you are going to pick up, all right? So you're not going to have so much from the back. And that's actually advantageous for picking up directionally where you want. So focusing this right at the sound hole of a guitar, that's going to do it every time. Now let's say you have somebody playing the guitar and singing. The other great thing about this microphone is that you can have it tilted more or set in, relatively close to the guitar, and a person singing over the top of it, it's not going to pick up very much of that at all, because when you're recording acoustics, you inevitably get bleed over, which is other instruments and other things being picked up by the microphone. So that is the condenser microphone. Next up we have just XLR cable, female, male, little clip, and then we will just put that in there. Okay, it's very simple. This generally you can put on a stand that that can be suspended. There's suspension stands, normal mic stand, but there's suspension for that. What I'm gonna show you next is the interface that we're going to be using, which is an M Audio Firewire Solo. All right, and this is really good if you're recording just a couple instruments or one, because we have one input for the XLR. Okay, and then they have the gain button, and then right here actually is a button to send it forward. All right, so your input here, and then this input number 2, which you would use a TS unbalanced or a TRS balanced cable. All right, so this button out is actually a button that will have it in the front panel. If you click it in, it goes to the rear panel because there is an unbalanced input right here. So these two are just TS or TRS, well, just TS because it's unbalanced. TRS output is right next to that, and those would go out to like your studio monitors. What you can also do, which is really nice, is SPDIF. There's 2 inputs back here, and those are RCA inputs. SPDIF is Sony/Philips, and that is probably the best to get the most digital signal possible. And then of course you have your FireWire, which we would put directly into the computer. Following along on the front panel here though, we have a button for phantom power, and that would be displayed by the light that's over here, 48 volt, and then above that there's a clip light that will tell you if you are clipping due to having the gain up a little too high. So you got that, and then right here, this is just the overall level, so you can mix either two levels and then bring both of them up at once. And then light showing that it's on, and the headphone jack for that. This is a really, really, really nice piece. I use that for just usually guitar and vocals. So you'll take your female and plug that into the male, then plug in your microphone right there. And then after that, I'm obviously assuming that you have all your cables set up to FireWire to the computer, and then the outputs to the speakers. From there, it's pretty much just setting up what program you want to use for recording. Hit record, and there you go. I'm not going to go into too much of the recording programs because that'll be covered in a later video. Other than that, though, it's very straight. It's very simple. It's it's straightforward with that. You set your levels once you get them kind of where you want, and just go. Good to go with that. I really enjoyed doing this because it got me more information, I guess, in detail about specifics of the microphone. Just sharpened up what I knew about cabling, and then looking at an interface that has different modes and inputs and stuff to that extent. So, and how you would want to, position yourself for what your needs are. Thank you so much for taking the time to evaluate me. I appreciate it. Take care.